General de Gaulle was in Africa to free France. So I am in France to free my country.
Welcome, Lansana Fofana again. Let me start, you can tell us about yourself briefly, and also if you can tell us, how does it like, mostly what you are, I saw you in one of the videos, also you are in the metro with Nguma, and you have also your own social media platform where you can reach out many people, and to talk about, the Western African countries and what France is doing actually against those countries, and still to continue to be a neo-colonial power in the region, and then to be in France. What does it look like,
Okay, so thank you, sister. I appreciate this meeting we're having today. And I really thanks Donald, which called me to join this live show we're doing today. So, the way I've been in the metro is Donald, who called me because I was fighting to free Senegal, because, there is dictatorship. There's a dictator in Senegal whose name is Macky Sall, So I was fighting against Macky Sall, and I tried to meet Donald one day. So I asked him, I said, Donald, I see you doing a very nice job. So I want to join you because I'm seeing you alone, and more people must support you in the fight you're doing. So I want to be one of these guys to come with you in the metro to talk to Africa. So he accepted, and we did it together. I know a very few times. So it's the way I enter in the metro. So after it, so like you said, I'm having my own social media. I'm trying to defend Africa. I'm trying to fight against this colonialism you're talking about, and it is something that must end. The work we did in the metro make many African people be aware about the system of France CFA, and also the system of military bases that France is maintaining in Africa to control every power that exists in Africa. So this fight was an opportunity for African people to know more about the system, to know more about this colonialism that is hiding to more African people. So after it, today we continue to fight, and we're seeing coup d'etat everywhere in Africa, because I think people know that these presidents that are being elected are not free. They are like person in jail, that are being controlled by a government that is in France. So that's why I think militaries are taking powers to try to help more than the people, because they don't having a very needed access to everything, access to education, a very good access to education, a very good access to food. People are starving in Africa, and this is the truth. So we are encouraging these persons to take the power, because General de Gaulle was not a civil. General de Gaulle was a soldier who freed France. So if today we have military taking powers in Africa, I don't think that it is bad news for Africa. It can be a good news, because Africa needs to be led by powerful persons at this time. People who don't fear to take the responsibility to seek the interest of their people, the interest of their country. So I'm in France because I cannot go back to Senegal. The dictator I'm fighting against, Macky Sall, will put me in jail if I go back to Senegal. That I'm studying here in France, and I think General de Gaulle was in Africa to free France. So I am in France to free my country too. So I am fighting as I can do to inform my people by social medias, to inform African youth, and to inform other persons that are subscribing on my channels, to make them know that what is necessary for Africa is to unite. What is necessary for Africa is to be totally free. So this is a fight I'm trying to lead in the social medias.
Thank you very much, Brother Lansana. That's indeed, what reminded me is actually, I think it was President, the Rwandan president Paul Kagame, who said not every military coup is a bad coup. It leads to economical liberation. Where actually the coup comes from something that means it tells us there is a bad governance, and that will absolutely lead to where there is, if you like, this Western type of democracy, or it can serve as a bridge. So not every coup is a bad coup. So people should keep that in mind, because there is a cause for it. In fact, what people have to ask is why the coup happened. Where did it fail? What this government that was ousted, what did he do or what did she do? That's the question that should follow. But immediately what happens is with all this so-called international media, they will start to take the narrative, to create a narrative and, disseminate their own narrative as, making one a bad guy and the other a good guy. So that's why we need actually our own platform, our own media, so that we can claim that narrative and start to, the homework has to be to inform our own people, because most African countries, as an Ethiopian, you saw it's something that's parallel actually what's going on in the Horn of Africa, and now in West Africa there is this fight to take over. So we have seen how the media was bashing us. We have been fighting two types of war. There is one, the battle on the ground, and then there's another war on media. So it's indeed important. Thank you. Can we say, Brother Lansana, this is to you. Can we say that perhaps this is the end of the era of French neo-colonialism in West Africa?
Sister, I can tell you that it is a beginning. So, what Mali is doing is a great job. We really appreciate what Assimi Goïta is doing in Africa. So he's not as the one, There are many leaders in Africa, like Paul Kagame or others leaders that are showing the way for African youth. I think what's happening in Mali will inspire more African countries that want to be free. So if Mali succeeds in this fight against Western countries, I think that Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast will succeed, Senegal will succeed, and other countries, Burkina. You see what's happening in Burkina. It is because I think they have been inspired by the leadership of Assimi Goïta. So it's what we want in Africa. If they are soldiers, we don't care. We don't really care. What we want is really persons that are good leaders, that have the leadership we need to fight against colonialism and to free Africa everlasting.
Brother Lansana, you are not actually the first one that I heard, because of speaking against the neo-colonialism or, criticizing President Macky Sall, that you are out of Senegal and you cannot go back. I also have come across a story like this, a journalist actually, he's based somewhere, not in Europe. Why do you think that, the leaders are allowed, that they allowed themselves, especially in West Africa, the way they are treated by, for example, let's talk about the ECOWAS sanction. The sanction, it's clear that it's going to harm the ordinary people. In some parts, actually, it will harm other countries. For example, there's a great trade exchange between Mali and Senegal, and to close that border will harm both sides. But still, they took an action and they sanctioned Mali. Why do you think they allow themselves to be still continue in neo-colonial? What does it take for a leader to say, no, we are not going to continue whatever agreement was done around, in the 1950s when they got so-called independence? We are going to tear apart that paper and we are starting fresh. What does it take?
So, sister, I will talk about Macky Sall. With the example of Macky Sall, maybe you can understand better what's happening in Africa. Macky Sall, before being president, he was against Abdoulaye Wade, and he went to France to be supported by France, to be financed by France, to come and take the power in Senegal. This is what happened. So if you go to look for support from abroad, and you go to look for support from in France, when you will be president, you will need to satisfy every desire of this country. This is what's happening in Senegal. Every contract are given to France enterprises. You know what's happening? Because they financed Macky Sall to be president. So these kind of persons don't need to be president. People need to be aware before they take in the power. And we didn't understood better the situation before putting an end to the power of Abdoulaye Wade. And we are regretting today because we didn't take time to observe who Macky Sall is really. So it is what's happening in many countries in Africa. When they see you in the opposition with the president, they know that you're having the support of all your country. So they call you in France and they promise you everything. They promise you support. They promise you money. They promise you to keep every money you steal from your country to put it in their bank. So they give you assurance that you can trust them and nothing will happen to you. Even though you betray your country, they will every time be here. They will always be by your side. So it is what's happening in all African countries. So we have a Pan-African whose name is Ousmane Sonko, who is not seeking for Western support. Who wants really to be supported by Senegalese people, who is asking them to support them, to finance his election, to finance everything he needs. So when he's going to be president, he will be obliged to serve this country because he has been elected and financed by the youth of this country. Unfortunately, this is not the case for every person you see in the opposition with the power in Africa, and this is a very big pity.
Unfortunately, many countries or many leaders share that story. Those who are supported popularly by their own citizens in their own homeland are not going to be, it's most unlikely that they will be supported by the Western world. In fact, when the Western world supports a certain leader, whether that came through a coup or democratically elected, then that's the time one has to ask why. Why are they supporting him or her so much? Brother Lansana, what we are observing right now in Africa, it's a new scramble for Africa, neo-colonialism, a scramble between the Western world versus China and Russia on the other block. What do you think, that it's true that we have to get a help for one in the first place, but still to get that total independence? What should the Africans do, the leaders, the citizens? what should we do? Shall we just grab the assistance we get from one block and then continue to serve them?
No. What we need to do is to have relationship with the one which never colonized African people. I don't think that China colonized one country, one African country. I don't think so. I don't think Russia did colonize one African country. No. So the one which colonized African countries is Western countries, is European countries. So this is our enemies we have to fight against. Because you see, China is a country which succeed by its own efforts. I think China can help African people to take the same way to be independent, to be developed. I think Russia can support military African countries to face this terrorism that is been maintained by European countries in Africa to destroy our African countries. So we don't need to be colonized by any of these countries. We just need sincere relationship with Russia, sincere relationship with China, because this is a relationship we never had with European countries. They come in Africa with the colonizer mind. They come to Africa thinking that we are inferior people that they come to teach or they come to civilize. So we are now aware about the danger that Western countries can represent for Africa. So I think this is a good partnership between Africa and Russia and between Africa and China. The one that want to make African youth understand that China is an enemy, it is the same Western countries that are still colonizing Africa. The one who want African youngest generation to think that Russia is our enemy, it is the same Western countries which are still colonizing many of our countries, like France. So we have to name it. The country which colonizing, we still colonizing 15 countries in Africa is France. So the main fight we have to lead is against France to be independent, because we know England has colonized many countries, but they are all free today. These countries are not using the money that England is imposing to these countries. France is imposing its money to 15 African countries, its language to 15 African countries, its military bases to 15 African countries. I don't know, it's not 15 African countries, but the majority of these countries are being cycled, you know what I mean, has been controlled military by France. So our fight is not against Russia. Russia don't have military bases to maintain African people in colonization. The country which is doing it is France. So we have to defeat France. If we don't defeat France, we will never be free. France has defeated Germany to be free. Our fight, like African youth, is to defeat France to gain our independence. It is not something that's gonna happen easily. It is something we have to fight for. And we're ready to fight for, is what we're doing. When African youth will understood properly the topic, I think we'll not have any problem to defeat France. It's coming slowly but surely, my sister.
Thank you very much, Brother Lansana. So this brings us to the final question. What is your message, to the African youth, to Africans actually in any age, the youth and the elders, the teachers and the military, both at home and in diaspora? What should they do?
My call is for African people to unite. So the things you are doing, the opportunity you are giving to us is very important, and we thank you a lot for that. So this is a good way to unite Africa. So Africa needs to unite. If we want to defeat colonization, we need to unite. The problem of Africa is unity. So when we're going to take victory upon this problem, I think Africa can fix many problems. So after being united, African youngest generation need to be educated, a good education, based in our realities. So we are learning many subjects that are not interested for African youth. So we need to learn our culture. We need to be proud to be how can I say it, proud to be African. So the educational system is not making African youth to be proud of themselves. They are being proud to be American. They are proud to be French. They are proud to be German. They are proud to be English. I don't know. So we need to be proud to be African. We have to be proud to be African. So we need to unite first. We need to change our educational system. We need to change our political field, which is controlled by the same persons, still African independence. So we need to change these older persons to renew the political field by revolutionary, by Pan-African. I think if we do these three things, it will be a good beginning for Africa to go forward. So it is something that we are trying to make African people to understand, but it's not easy. We just have social media to do it. They don't open television for us. They don't open all other possibilities that we can have, radios or everything you can imagine. So we have only social media to do the fight to make African people understand all these topics. So I think we can develop and having more and more ideas to help African people to be free. But we need to start by education. We need to start by the unification of Africa. We can have 53 states, with one president. It's possible. The same things is happening in the United States of Africa. They are putting in our mind that if you speak English, you are not having the same mentality with somebody who is speaking English, who is speaking is French or other language. This is false. We are brothers and sisters. They put borders between us to divide us, but our mind is not colonized. Our mind is still free. We are brothers and sisters. We have to join hands. We have to go forward together. In spite of this, we will lose all opportunity we can have together. Yes.